Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We went to movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey, hey.
Stupid son of a bitch. Knocked itself cold.
Called my ass. He's dead. We killed him. We killed it. Fuck you!
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
And today we are going underground. We are heading to Nevada.
These are good hints.
And it's going to get dusty.
Yeah, real dusty.
And
Watch out for those seismographs.
no, those are, we're watching out for those. Those are like a good indication of when to look out.
Watch out for them. Roll with me here.
All right. So, anyways, we today watched Tremors.
Tremoring.
You're in tremoring. Look out.
It's not really about that. Well,
yeah.
sort of. Not
Released in 1990, starring Kevin Bacon.
Whoop.
And Fred Ward.
Whoop.
Great kind of in the horror comedy genre.
Like a good horror comedy.
Yeah, we both have very specific memories tied to this movie, I think.
Yeah.
And I think they're different, though.
Right.
Even though we've seen it together.
Right.
My memory involves both of us, but yours, I guess, doesn't.
So I feel like, okay, I was 7 when this came out, right? Watched it. I remember at this woman who was like a casual babysitter for us. She also had children and didn't work. So mom would like dump us at her house a lot, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's the
If
story.
you
I
want to
don't
call
know.
that casual babysitting. I don't know why I just like put that word there, but it's what I think it is. Anyway, okay, way too young to watch this film. First of all, 7, whoa. Scared the shit out of me and left a deep, deep impression. And probably for me, the first horror movie that I ever saw.
I thought it was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, or is that just mine?
I think maybe around the same time.
Oh.
Right? Because like when
I
did
was
you see
5.
Killer Clown? Okay, so right, so you would have been 4 when this.
But I didn't
this came
see
out.
this when it came out. We
Yeah.
just saw it on TV.
No, but I think it was like around because I read that this didn't do very well in the theater, but had like a crazy VHS rental like sort of deal, which makes me wonder, how does VHS work? Like, how do people who own the movie get money from like rentals? Right?
Who own the movie?
Like, does Blockbuster like buy a copy and then they can rent it like however times they fucking want, right? Like, it's not like they're paying the company for each.
know.
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know how
So it's
it
like, how do
works.
they track rental sales? I'm just saying. Maybe there's
you
like
have to like
something.
document it. You're
Yeah.
in the computer. Oh, you're taking out
Anyway,
this movie. Cool.
I miss Blockbuster, and as we talked about many times, I'm bringing back the movie rental store. It's my dream job.
Yes, we know. It's one of your many dream jobs.
Only open 2 hours a day.
Failed business plans. 2 hours a
That's all I
day.
have time for.
Just not your latest. What was your latest one? Your latest idea.
The only thing why I want the movie rental store is because I want to have like a Sweetie corner. Like, remember in Blockbuster, it'd be like Gary's favorite movies, and it would have like all Gary's favorite movies with like, and they do it in
Yes.
bookstores too. Like, that's still a current thing. But I just want to be like Sweetie corner, and it would have like all our Sweetie Club movies, or we could have just a Sweetie Club movie store.
with only our Sweetie
Oh my
Club
God.
movies?
Yes.
What if people weren't happy with the selection? I don't know. I think it's another failed.
Who isn't happy with the selection?
I think it's another failed
Guys,
business plan.
tell us, aren't our selections amazing?
Yes, but I mean, there's always going to be people that are like, why don't you have Tremors 5?
Don't come to the Sweetie Club store.
You're right, I guess.
Anyway, what is your first
boy.
impression or memories of
so
this
my
movie?
first memory was we were traveling to Florida as we said in another podcast, every other year, I think, we drove down to Florida to visit our grandparents in Naples. And we always stopped along hotels along the way. So, you know, your days in, your holiday in, that sort of thing. So we're a family of 5. So often it was mom and dad in one bed, you and Liz in the other, and then we'd roll in the little cot, and I get to sleep on that. So then we were watching movies one night, and Tremors was on, and of course our dad loved that movie, and we were watching it. And I'm assuming I was about 7 too when this happened, and you guys were all into it, and I was so terrified. I hid under the bed, like the sheets.
The cot?
No, like I was in your bed with you and Liz and mom or whatever. And I like hid underneath the sheets and wouldn't come out. And it was so hot under there. And I was like, I hate it so much. And all I remember is that scene with the 2 old people in the station wagon. And I thought that they were real people. And I was just still very confused about like disconnecting actors in movies from like real people in the world.
Really fucked me up.
Right. And then when I watched that tonight, I was like, I'm still very traumatized by this.
That's an awful scene.
And that is why. Another reason this movie is very traumatic for me is that it obviously is kind of an homage. The Amish? No. An homage to Jaws, which is my least favorite movie of all time because it's so terrifying. I know. I recognize it's a great movie, but
an evil thing like picking off people one by one.
That it's like an unseen thing, and then it like jumps out from places unexpected. It pulls people underneath.
Good point.
To the other world, and
it's like Jaws in the desert.
Yeah. And it's just very upsetting. So I think that's also why I had such a strong visceral reaction to it when I was little. So that's my memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great. Definitely as a child, you'd be completely terrified by this movie. It's really freaky. The things are gross. There's some shock factor with the stuff jumping up out of the stuff, the sand and everything like that. But as an adult, it's fucking funny. It's so funny. The cast of characters is amazing. The 2 leads, the bromance between Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward is just like amazing. I'm not even a huge Kevin Bacon fan, and I was like, man, I really like this guy.
This is like one of his greatest roles, like, if not the greatest.
So, oh my
question mark.
I don't love Kevin.
I know.
We'll talk
me
about
neither.
this later, but like, I'm just not. I've never been a Kevin Bacon fan. Anyway, but like, wow, this movie is great. And if you have not seen it in a while, I mean, it's probably been about 15 years for us, I would say.
No, it's been a couple of years for me.
Yeah, Andre saw it. She had her horror movie, The Horror Digest. If you want a fun Google, do a quick Google of that. She has watched like literally every horror movie on the planet and had watched it and had positive reviews then. And she does now.
Had a grand old time.
Yeah. But yeah, this is, and I thought this, I don't know, this just like came to me. Oh, it was because my boss at work, hey Gary, if you're listening, mentioned this one to me again when he asked me like what movies I had been doing recently on the podcast. And I was like, do you have any recommendations? And he goes, what about Tremors? So Tremors. Boom. There you go, Gary.
This one's for you. Okay, so let's remind people what the film is about. In case you haven't seen it in a long time, like us or like Sweetie.
Oh boy, it's time for the Sweetie synopsis.
Yeah, Sweetie's Tremors. Fuck you.
Son of a bitch.
Earl and Valentine, aka Val, are 2 handymen that work in the town. Is it a town? We're not sure. In the valley, Perfection Valley in Nevada, which has a population, get ready for it, of 14 people. Whoa.
A lot less now.
It's literally like a tiny hole with like 5 shacks, but they somehow are able to get a general store run by an Asian man.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's a straight out of the old West towns when they would have a town with 5 rickety buildings and like one general store and like a saloon, right? But this isn't like cute, quaint Westerns. This is like ramshackle trailers and like carotid.
But
what is that called? Carotid metal or something. Yeah,
but
lean-tos.
and they have a video. He's got videos in there. He's got clothes. They have everything they need, apparently. But
All you need is Walter Shang's
I'm still
general
very
store.
confused about why they're all living there.
Yeah.
So anywho.
Right, there's no like, is there like an industry?
No, I don't.
What's up?
We don't know. So there is, however, a college student studying. She's a seismologist studying the tremors of the surrounding area of the valley. I guess.
Rhonda.
Rhonda,
Good name.
not Randa, as in Teen Witch, but Rhonda is studying those. So that's point of interest because we're like, what's going on here?
Well, everyone is like there, like they come in real handy, like these people who are in this town. Kind of a
Sort of.
coincidence.
Yeah. So Earl and Val are like, let's get out of this town. It sucks. Thank God. I don't know why they're only realizing this now. And how are they in business still as handymen in this town when there's only like 5 places they can be handymen at?
Yeah. I mean, I thought I lived paycheck to paycheck. They were like, we have $3. Like, what?
What do they need money for?
They
I'm
also live in a
assuming
trailer.
they don't pay rent on the trailer.
Well, how does that work?
They just own it, so they don't need.
What about the
what
land?
do they need money
Would
for?
you just put a trailer there? Someone must own the land. You must have to pay them.
I don't know. So many questions. Anyway, so they're on their way out of town, and then they stop and see. They recognize this old kind of bum. I don't know if he's a bum or he's just like
You
looks
said
like
he was
a bum.
the electrician.
You said that, and I said he's not the electrician.
he's
He
like
just went up there to
90
hide.
years old.
I know. You. Oh God, I wish you were recording when this happened because you definitely were like, "Why does he do that job if he's so old?" And I was like, "He's not the electrician."
I thought you go, he is the
No,
electrician.
I said he's not the electrician.
It's like Santa Claus. I'm like, he's not the electrician.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Anyway,
boy.
so they see him up on top of this electric tower thing, and they're like, "What is he doing up there?" So then they go up and they find out he's dead. So they take him to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Well, he died of dehydration." And they're like, "Huh, that's weird. Like he could have just come down and not died of dehydration, but he stayed up there. They don't know why." So then they're like, "Okay, let's." Oh, they drive on by and they see all these sheep like dead in this farmer's yard. And they're like, okay, another weird thing. So they stop off there and they can't find the farmer. And they see this hat on the ground. And they're like, I forget what the farmer's name is, but besides the point. They pick up the hat and his head's under there.
It's like a mask. There's nothing like in it.
It's just a bad effect. It's just an effect. But gone awry, but still has the same effect.
So they've deduced from this that there is a serial killer on the loose. Didn't really put 2 and 2 together, like why the guy was like stuck up on the thing, but
Why
like,
would they?
Someone killed Fred or whatever, like the sheep owner is. Like, fuck that. Like, we need to get into town and tell everybody, right? So they're like on their way into town, and then they run into some like electrical construction
jackhammering
workers doing
people.
jackhammering. And they warn them, but then the construction workers are like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we need to finish this job or whatever. Fortunately, the construction workers then meet untimely death, get dragged away. And again, you don't see anything. So the camera is like going from the ground up and just like coming upon these people. And then they basically get like sucked into the ground. Then you hear like, "Ah!" and them getting like kind of like eaten, that eaten like kind of sound. But that's it. You don't see anything. So then they get, they're trying to like leave.
Well, the monster creates like goes up the hill, and then all the rocks fall down and block
crush,
the road.
Yeah, and crush the other construction
Crush the other guy and
worker.
block the road so they can't drive
Right.
out of the valley.
Right, because they were trying to drive to Bixby, which is like the next town over, which is like 45 miles away, or was it 35 miles away or something like that. So their car gets stuck, and then they're having some trouble like getting it to push. They think it's like stalled, but they finally get it to move, and then they end up like reconvening with basically the 10 people who are left in town, and they start telling everybody like what's up. And then their attached to their truck is this giant like mini snake head that has been like ripped in half. So that's like what was keeping their truck from moving. And so then they start like putting it all together. They're like, oh my God, this is what's killing people. Not knowing that's just like the tip of the iceberg.
So they get some horses, and they make Earl and Val go off to try to make it to Bixby on the horses. The horses get spooked, and then a giant one of these things, which are later to be called graboids, comes out of the ground, and it's a giant thing with like a It looks like a beak, and then it opens its mouth, and all those little worm snake things come out of its mouth. So they're like, holy shit! So they make a run for it, and luckily they get to a divider where there's like concrete, kind of blocking.
It's like a water duct aquifer kind of thing,
like that. We don't know the technical term for this, but the graboid can't go through it, and it kills itself by like ramming into it. So then they get a good look at the thing, and they're like, wow, this is crazy. It doesn't have any eyes. They figure out that it can just hear people. And so it
smells really bad.
Vibrations that happen, it comes and picks up on that and goes and gets you. So you can't make any noise or movement. So the student comes back.
They run into
and so she kind of
geologist
looks at this with them, and then she freaks out and is like, oh, bad news. I think there's at least 3 more of these at this point. I think there were 4 total.
4 total, yeah.
There's 3 more out there, because she looks at her graph and notices that these all happen at the same time, and they're in different locations. So she's pretty smart, which is pretty cool, because she's a lady and she's smart. She kicks butt, so I like her.
Yeah.
Aranda. So now they need to get back, but unfortunately the graboid is coming after them. So they take refuge on a rock and then spend the night because they can't leave because the graboid's just waiting for them to like get off of that thing. And then they pole vault to her truck, which is kind of a little further away.
Used to pole vault? What were those things?
These big sticks in the ground that were like hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
really
they make it to
big
her
sticks.
truck, and then they get back with everybody else. They tell them the bad news, like, bad news, guys. Giant graboids were stuck in this town. There's no way out. Because of the valley, they can't use the CB radio because it can't make it over the, we don't know the technical reasons for these things.
No one has a phone. There's one phone in the general store, apparently. That's
it's
out.
Like not working.
Pre-cell phone time.
They're shit out of luck.
Yep. Roads closed. And they have no truck that can get up the mountain path. Because it was their truck. Their truck later gets like eaten.
Well, they needed 4-wheel drive. They need like an actual Jeep. Yeah. So before long, the graboids really start wising up, and they all come into town and start trying to eat all the people there.
Right. And like essentially the graboids are just trying to pick off, like they kind of had started out from like who knows where they came from or like why they chose this little town. But they start from like the outskirts of town and start killing people like on the way in. So they're basically like moving towards the village, which has the most people. And they basically start killing people like one by one. The final death being like a couple of the townspeople within the town. R.I.P. Walter Chang. Saddest death for me.
It is so
he was annoying,
sad.
but like that one was real bad.
So then they all get up on the roof, and they're kind of okay for a while. They're safe up there. But then again, the graboids start wising up, and they're like, we got to shake down these things and get them down.
Why are they so smart?
I don't know. So now they're on the roof, and they need to get off the roof. And their next plan is to get to the mountains. So if it's full, like the student says, if it's actual granite, they shouldn't be able to get through it. So that's their next plan. However, they don't know how to get there because they're trapped on these roofs. So next plan is there's
so many plans. It's really hard to remember.
can't keep track of them.
So he goes to get the cat.
Distraction. Yeah, so they cause a distraction. They like start up this little like lawnmower tractor thing, send it off driving on its own. It works for a little while. Then Kevin Bacon goes off to try to go after the cat, which is not the animal cat,
The tractor.
but a truck. At first I was like, no, don't send the cat. What the fuck? No, it was like the tractor, and they're going to attach this big trailer to it and then haul everybody to the mountain. So, does it work, sweetie?
Yes. So he makes it to the cat, and they like drag this big trailer, and they pick everybody up from the roofs of the houses. So then they're going to drive this, they think, to the mountain pass. On the way, they pick up Bert and what's the wife's name? Bert and something. And so they're these like crazy survivalists with like tons of guns, and they ended up killing one of them actually because it ran into their basement, and they just like used all of the guns that they have. We'll talk about that later. Best scene ever, and kill one of the things. So now they're down to just two graboids. So they pick them up and they start heading for the mountain pass. But again, the graboids have come up with a new strategy to get in their way and to try to kill all of them. They like dig a hole, and their cat tractor basically like falls in it and can't get out of it.
Sons of bitches.
Yep. So they're stuck
again
so
on another fucking rock.
Yeah. So then they run for some rocks. They create some distractions with these homemade bombs that the survivalists made, and run for these rocks. So now they're stuck on the rocks again, and like, you know, they're gonna die. You will dehydrate, you know, with lack of water in 3 days. I guess they didn't like think of any bringing supplies and stuff, but that's too bad.
Would have been a good plan.
Guess they left in a hurry.
Yeah. So then Earl comes up with the idea to kind of go fishing with the bombs. So they they throw rocks down to get them to come up, and then they put like a piece of the dynamite out there, and then the graboid swallows it and blows it up, and they're like, "Woo! Another one down." So there's only one left. Unfortunately, the last one left is like the smartest one. It's not falling for any of the tricks. They're like, fuck, we're fucked. They do the fishing with the dynamite thing again, but then it spits the dynamite out at them, and they all scatter. And then Earl, Val, and Rhonda are like out all of a sudden. How did they get out there? Did they
Well, it
run?
also blows up all the rest of their bombs.
Right, and it blows up all the rest of the bombs. They only have one bomb left that Kevin Bacon like put in his pocket and ran away with. And so then it's just these three left, and then they run, and Kevin Bacon's Val's like, I got an idea, and then he like runs to the edge of like the cliff. And they give him the bomb, and then he lights it, and he's like, wait, not yet, and he throws it, and you think he misses, and it goes behind the graboid, and they're like, you idiot, you went behind it, and then it blows up, and then the graboid keeps going for them, and then Kevin Bacon just like waits for the right moment, and right when it's about to get him, he jumps out of the way, and the thing just goes flying off the cliff to its death. Pretty great moment, and that's the end of the last one, and then the end of the movie.
And that's it. So you think 5
Till the
sequels
next
later.
sequel. But yeah, you never find out what the graboids are doing there, where they came from, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's a problem for some people. It kind of is for me. I kind of would like to know, because I like to know everything.
Right.
And I mean, I think that Rhonda was probably the right one, in that they were like pre-fossil. Like,
but why did they just come now, and like where did they come
Right.
from? Maybe
they're
that
just
gets
like
explored
some
in the other
prehistoric
movies?
thing that got like awoken
Yeah.
by like something nuclear
Or like
testing.
ran out of food supply.
Yeah,
or something,
I mean, I don't know.
came from
Maybe
people?
maybe it's explained in the sequel. Let us know. We don't know. But that's the movie. It's so much fun. It's definitely follows the same kind of path or trajectory of those many horror movies, in that the scares are quite prevalent in the beginning of the movie, but then at some point in the middle, when you start to get familiar with the monster,
Yeah.
and it becomes just like, okay, that's the problem. This is the issue. Now we need to solve it. It doesn't becomes more of like an action movie. And I think Jaws is similar in this, after having been forced to watch it now at least twice.
Well, for me, in
it's
this
the same kind of thing,
Like,
though.
I couldn't handle if there was any more deaths.
Right.
Like you had just at that point gotten so close to all the characters. I mean,
That's
not
exactly
that like one guy who like just was like, who
We're
is
like,
that guy?
who is that guy?
Like, he just kept
Yeah,
coming out of
after
nowhere.
he died, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't care about him, but
Yeah.
it's these close
I'm
knit.
like, if that fucking Mexican guy
Oh my
like
God.
dies, I'm
I know.
leaving.
I forgot.
I
I
am
forgot,
leaving.
and I was like,
and I was convinced like that was gonna happen. I think I was confusing like the Walter death scenes, and like because I could like see blood coming out of his nose and being like, oh no. But he made it. Because when they ran for the rock, I'm like, that's it. The Mexican guy's dead.
Yeah,
There's no way he
someone else
can
had
run.
to have died. Yeah, or like the little girl. Yeah, these close knit crises movies are tough, because you just form such a bond with them. It's not just like all these random swimmers on the beach in the
Right.
summer. They're people that you've grown a connection to, and all have very specific characters drawn.
like-
So when
but
they
like-
die, you get so upset.
But like for Jaws, it's not like upsetting when like Quint, what's his name?
Quint, I think it's. I mean, that's upsetting. He was a
Well,
cool dude.
No, he's a cool dude. I mean, I love that character. That guy's fucking amazing. That speech he gives on the boat, like, oh my God, my favorite thing in like any movie. But I don't know. You're not like warm to him. I don't know. Maybe to some people. Maybe that's a bad example.
I suppose.
Or if like, well, in Jaws and like the trick thing where like you think Richard Dreyfuss dies, like if he had really died, that would have been like fucking.
He was supposed to.
Because
Yeah.
like you love Hooper, you're like no.
Quit playing with yourself. Yeah.
I love that movie.
But yeah, so same sort of idea here. There's a lot of problems, I guess, as we said. But the one thing I noticed is that everyone has an idea. Like Every time I thought they were toast, someone would think of something, and then you'd have an idea. So it just goes to show you, if you're stuck with a bunch of people, you'll find a way out. It's like in gym class when they're like, you and your group need to find a way to get this jump rope, this scooter, and this mat across the gym with everybody on it. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
So it gives me some hope. It gives me some hope, and I feel less upset.
I liked how there were like what you would think would be like the kind of like not cliches, but like stuff that they like bring in the beginning of the movie that ends up paying off at the end, or like how they always did the rock paper scissor, and like that was like a thing that factored in the whole movie. Or let me think of other things. Or just like the parts of the town, or the annoying things about people that then ended up like having payoffs. I don't know. Obviously very easy to see. If you've seen them already, obviously it's easy to track in that too. But I wasn't like bothered by those or thought they were like annoying or cliche or anything like that. Like I just thought it like all like really worked, and it's fucking exciting.
It is. It's.
And I didn't remember that ending like at all. I thought they like got into the cat and then they like made it to the end. I mean, I guess I remembered that they like they killed them.
That's
somehow,
anticlimactic.
But I do not remember them on the
end
last
is
rock.
the end is so good, and it's like such a great classic moment of like yes, like when the victory happens and they make it and the thing goes flying out.
I wish I had watched this in the theater. That would have been like an amazing theater sort of reaction.
I'm sure they still play this like in the. I mean, it was similar to like Get Out, and everybody was like cheer. It'd be that same kind of like cheering,
which I feel like you get so seldom now in movies. Like movies just aren't that good anymore.
It's nice to see it.
Oh, when that happens, you're just like, or like when we saw Star Wars in the movie theater when they did the re-releases, and everyone when the Death Star blows up. Oh my god, that's the best.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's talk about Kevin Bacon.
Sure.
So you don't like him.
So my friend in middle school had a huge crush on him. And I feel like it was like, almost like it's like a Ryan Gosling kind of thing. I'm like, am I the only person who thinks, A, this person isn't that good of an actor, and B, that he's not cute at all? And that's what I mostly feel about Kevin Bacon. Mostly. There's some roles that like I do actually like kind of like him in, this one being like probably it.
Ew, with that long hair. I can't.
I never think he's good looking. I think he's like a busted Brad Pitt in this movie because he has like long hair and he's a cowboy.
Well, I just can't handle long-haired Kevin Bacon. Like it really skeeves me out, and I'll tell you why. It's because he was in this movie, little ditty called Picture Perfect, with Jennifer Aniston.
And he was like the hot guy.
And he was supposed to be like the hot guy that she was obsessed with, and he had this disgusting hair. I don't know. There's something about his features that are very skeleton-like or something.
He is not cute. To even try to pass him off as the hot guy in the office is like so disturbing to me.
I know. So that's why I think I get skeeved out.
Okay.
But I mean, I haven't really ever seen Footloose, but I can remember. Like, is that the one that the hotness originates from?
It must be because he could dance and stuff.
But he couldn't. He didn't even do that part. It was a shadow. It was some stunt dancer, right?
No, he can really. No, he did. He didn't do the like gymnastics routine in the barn. If that's what you're thinking of. I think he did the actual dancing. Did you see him on Jimmy Fallon when they came back for the reunion? He did it.
I see.
Yeah. So maybe that is like the originate. And like I think we're too young for that. Like maybe in the 80s, we would have been like, Kevin Bacon.
But what's your connection to Kevin Bacon? Your degree of separation?
Oh shit! No, that only works in movies. It's not like regular people.
No, yes, it is. You could. So I think mine is 0 now. I think or 1 or whatever. Wait, is 0? Is 0? You are Kevin Bacon.
What?
What is 1? So it's 1, right?
Okay.
1 degree of separation. Yours is 1. Okay. Mine is direct.
Okay. So everyone knows what 6 degrees of separation is, right? So 6 degrees of separation. Everyone in this world is connected by at least a maximum 6 people. So that's pretty cool, right? But Kevin Bacon has been in so many films that every actor is connected to Kevin Bacon in 6 or less movies. So, like, we could try to do an example of it.
Well, I was going to pull up the site that just does it for you to make it easier.
It would be funner to do it.
Okay, well, name a person.
Harrison Ford.
Okay. Are you sure they haven't been in a movie together?
They might, and then that's just 0.
Oh, no. Well, that's why I need to pull up the thing.
Well, I
because
can't think of any.
Okay, well then how do you do it if you can't think of any?
Then you pick any movie that Harrison Ford's
Okay. Star Wars.
All right. So it would be like Star Wars. So Harrison Ford was in Star Wars with Carrie Fisher. Oh, I got it. Carrie Fisher was in When Harry Met Sally with Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan was in Sleepless in Seattle with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was in Apollo 13
With Kevin Bacon. You did it. Wow.
Boom.
Cool.
Is that the path that they would take?
Well, I did. Harrison Ford has a Bacon number of 2. Harrison Ford was in Jimmy Hollywood with Jody Markell,
Okay, I don't know.
who was
either
in
of
Queen's
those people.
Logic with Kevin
Okay,
Bacon.
I don't know
So
any of those.
I know. But I'm just saying that it was an even smaller number, and we didn't realize it because we don't know who that person is. But that's
Or
why
any
the
of
site is
those
so
movies.
cool, because it's people that now do someone like really,
Really obscure.
really obscure. Let's try that.
Fred Savage.
Fred Savage also has a Bacon number of 2. Yes. Fred Savage was in Vice Versa with Robert Minkoff, who was in She's Having a Baby with Kevin Bacon.
Oh man, see, that's pretty cool.
Did it.
I mean, it's cool, and I mean, it's not saying that Kevin Bacon is a bad actor. I really do.
No.
like him. But yeah, I just don't. But he is fucking rad in this. I really like him. He's hysterical. He's very charming.
He's so funny. I love he has so many outbursts that involve swears that I just find hilarious.
It's like GIF Nation with all that shit.
Totally.
But let's not forget Fred Ward too, because he is.
I think
amazing.
he's my favorite character. I think Earl is just amazing. He's a little older, a little wiser.
And like sets Val straight.
I think he's sweet. Val's obsessed with this like dream girl scenario who's like blonde, green eyes, like giant boobs,
Ass that won't quit,
legs for days.
days.
And Earl's like, this is unrealistic.
You live in a village with
fantasy.
14 people. Fucking lower your standards.
Yeah, get over it. So yeah, Earl sets him straight. And it's just such a good it's just a really good bromance. It's a great bromance.
Yeah, they really like give it to each other. And then so we were talking about that part where there's like there's all these little like funny little like why do I like cannot find the word for that? Maybe there isn't a word. But Earl and Valentine do this tropes. Good one. Earl and Valentine do this thing that it's like they always do rock paper scissors because they're handyman. They have these horrible jobs to do this. So they're doing like sewage and like barbed wire and like all this shit. So they're always like doing that to decide like who gets the worst job or like whatever, all their decisions they make. So in this whole movie, they're coming up with obviously these tasks that like neither of them want to do, and they do rock paper scissors. So Valentine always loses, and the one time he doesn't lose, he wins, and it was to go and run, do this very like deadly like risk your life and run to get the cat tractor thing to rescue everybody. So Earl, throws whatever paper, and Val throws scissors, so he loses. But then at the last minute, Val like elbows him and decides to like do the brave thing and take it on himself.
It's a sweet moment,
and it was really awesome. I was like, you are a friend.
Don't worry, he makes it out alive. So obviously we can't really do favorite and least or favorite parts or whatever because favorite parts that were ours of when we originally saw this because we don't really remember. I didn't see any of it because I was under the bed sheets the whole time. But watching it on this rewatch, we both had a favorite part. They were the same. It was the same. I can't talk today, so I'm just gonna give up. But we had the same favorite part, which was the 2 tickets to the gun show.
Yeah, so the two like survivalists, Bert and what the fuck?
Reba McEntire.
Yeah, Reba McEntire is in this. She's adorable. It's her first movie, BT Dubs. And Bert is played by the dad from Family Ties, Mr. Keaton. And I guess he like literally left like the last season like series finale of the Family Ties and like went to do this movie like the day after. Like, wow, dedication.
Heather is her
Heather,
name.
Burton Heather.
Gummer.
Gummer, good one. So he's like crazy survivalist who like wanted to live in the middle of nowhere and like not deal with anybody. Crazy avid gun collectors, just like really roughing it people. Perfect couple, really, because they're both really interested in that. So they have this like rec room, which is basically like where they have all their stuff, and that includes sad for the graboids is a giant wall of guns. So the graboids, like they're in the basement level, so they crash through the basement, and like they're trying to warn them that they're coming through the basement, but it's like too late. But also I think they kind of want to like face them and see if they can kill it anyway, not knowing like what a graboid is. They haven't seen it yet. And the thing crashes through and they're like, what the fuck? So then they go through every gun on their fucking wall, which is like literally every gun you've ever seen in your entire life. And it is hilarious because you think they've like run out of guns and then it's like, oh, another one. Ooh, a flare gun. like, ooh, pistols. Oh, this rifle. Oh, a machine gun.
And then,
like,
and then Bert sees this giant elephant gun like behind a glass case. He breaks it open, takes it out, like throws out these giant bullets, puts them in the thing, and then shoots this. And it's like
double gauge
giant
shotgun is like no joke.
Oh man, it's crazy.
That will blow your head off.
That is finally what kills it. And then at the end, he goes, "Whoa! I guess some way. What is it?
Broke into the wrong rec room, you bastard!
Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, you bastards!" So good. Oh, it was great.
So, and like coming from him, obviously the role of like Mr. Keaton on Family Ties is like fucking good for you. And you know that's funny because I just watched Parks and Recreation, the scene where he's like, remember it's the one where the second season where they're getting together all the past park directors and they're these like horrible men, and he's the one who had it before Ron, and Ron like hates him. And that was like the last. I was like, oh my God, Mr. Keaton again.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's in everything.
Yeah.
He's like Manon.
But that guy's awesome. And those two are like pretty cool. They make their own homemade bombs from like
That's great.
kitchen equipment.
You really, if you're going to make it in a situation where there's some scary monster, like something's after you, get somebody that is like a crazy, it could be a Trump person, like whatever. Someone that's into guns. Someone that knows how to make shit and like make it out there and make homemade bombs. You need someone like that to be on your side because they really saved the day. I'll be honest. They did take their sweet time getting on that tractor, which is very like, come on,
wrap it up.
speed it up, folks. But it's fine. Yeah. So they're great characters. We've also got fucking Melvin, who's like the kid in town who we aren't sure where he comes from. Who are his parents?
And he doesn't do anything. He just
do
sits
anything
around.
except sits around.
Like, where do they go to school in Perfection, Nevada?
Homeschooled, I guess. But he's like the boy who cried wolf, and like he keeps pretending that the graboids get him. So then you know, oh, that's another trope. Like, okay, so we know that he's probably going to be in trouble for real, and then they're going to be like, oh, that damn kid, I'm going to kill him for real next time.
The boy who cried wolf.
And then they find out, but he doesn't die, unfortunately. Waste of space, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean that would have been sad to kill the kid.
But is he a kid? He was probably at least almost 18, so it's like, it's okay. Yeah. The other kid in the town is the little girl from Jurassic Park, who's much younger.
One alumni.
I know there's a couple. The bus driver in the craft. So yeah, the little girl, she's very sweet in this, but still does like annoying, like when she falls. I'm like, come on, we don't have time for this. She falls at the end when they're trying to make a break for the rock. You're like, God damn it. But she is very sweet, and I do remember that part vividly where she's on the pogo stick, and they're all like screaming and like running after her, like, get off the pogo stick. So scary.
Well, again, Valentine, like such a hero.
I know.
He just like runs after her, and like I don't know how he outraces the graboid, but like what? Okay, let's go over the scariest scenes for you. Okay. I think we have like two main ones, and we can each take one, unless there's ones out of that.
Probably not. Yeah. So this first scariest one is when they find the head.
And what scenes that we like most remember.
Yeah. I think so. Okay. So the one that I most remember is the doctor. So the doctor and his wife. It was early on in the movie, and they're like sitting out in their station wagon.
Jim?
Stop. They're sitting out in the station wagon, and they're like real sweet, and they're like they're in love, and you can tell. And then I looked at Sweetie, and I was like, oh no. I was like, this is so sad, because I knew what was going to happen, because this is the part that scarred me for life. So then there's like the lights go out, and they're like, goddamn generator, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna start it again. So he goes to start it again, and it's missing. He's like, damn thing's gone. He's like, what do you mean it's gone? It was right there. And then they go and they look for it, and then he like picks up the cord, and he gets sucked into like the ground. And this scene, and it happened again, I guess, with Walter a little bit, where like you can feel, and it's just like in Jaws, where like you don't know what's happening down below. You only have visibility to like their upper half of their body, but they're making these noises that are like, you're pretty confident that their body is being like cut in half by something terrible below, but you can't see it. But just like their agony is just very upsetting. And I think that's why that scene is so upsetting, because he's like dying, and she's trying to like pull him out and like reach for him, and it's just not working out. She like gives him this like sad piece of wood, and is like,
even if you pulled him out, he'd be like,
you know what, it's
in like tatters. His body.
It's like in Willy
Wonka
when they're like, here, it's like this is like this half-ass attempt, but like here's the slippery, here's the slippery lollipop.
Here's a 2x4. Like, it's not. I mean, it was really sweet because I think she thought it was quicksand. And like to get out of quicksand, that is something that you can like put a wood on, so then you can like brace yourself and like pull yourself up over that.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
It was not quicksand.
Oh, man, and so then he gets sucked down, and then she goes into the station wagon, and you think she's safe.
Okay, that's the worst part about that scene.
You think
is
she's
that you're
safe.
like, God, that was so horrible. I feel so bad, but at least she made it.
Yeah, and then all the little snake things like on the glass, and they're like, oh, scary, but she's safe. But then this little like radio starts up, and then the graboids hear it, and then they know she's in there. So then they suck the fucking car down, and it like goes backwards, and she's like, and it starts filling up with sand, and you just hear her screaming, and it's so traumatic.
Worst.
I would definitely compare it to like the beginning scene in Jaws, where it's just like that same like, dang, that shit really stays with you.
And like probably the like number one thing, man, I would not want to die that way. Like,
terrible,
awful. Like, what happened to that woman? She got pulled. Was she buried alive or pulled out by those things?
Or probably a little bit of all of it.
I mean,
that's what I think of in Jaws too. I'm like, would you be drowning first, or would you be cut in half? Yeah, it's upsetting. So that's my scene. What's yours?
Okay. So mine is so they're in the like one store in the town, Walter Chang's general store. And Walter's like kind of annoying, but like he means well, you know, he's like always kind of trying to make a buck, a little like stereotype there that's like kind of nasty.
Make a buck.
But means well, and anyway has like everything everyone needs in the town. So they all gather there, and this is the point where they're assuming that they can't like go into buildings because I would guess like that foundation, but I don't think these buildings have foundation. They're just kind of like little shacks like placed in the desert. But they see the graboids like coming for them, and they all go in the store, and then they think they're fine, but then another little like hint, Walter Chang has this like Pepsi Cola like freezer thing that always like kicks on and makes like a ton of noise. And it was broken or something like that. So they're like, turn it off. So they all like go running over there to like unplug it. And then they think they're fine for like a beat. And then the thing comes like crashing underneath the floor. And unfortunately, Walter Chang ends up like just being at the wrong place, wrong time, and gets, you know, eaten up. But it's the first time you really like see them eating something with the big beak. And the thing that scarred me as a little kid was that when it first comes up and eats him, blood like shoots out of his nostrils. And that was so terrifying to me.
You had a fear of nosebleeds?
No, but all I could imagine was, I was like, why is his nose bleeding? Because like his insides are like fucking
exploding.
compressed.
Oh, God.
Yes. So then they're trying to like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the 2x4 and the doctor in the desert. Like, let's try to help him. And like all I could think of as a kid was that, okay, if they pull him out, it's going to be like half of his body. I mean, the other half is in the guy's mouth. So then they just have to let Walter basically like get eaten, and it's very sad.
I'm gonna have so many nightmares tonight. I just thought of like 20 like upsetting things in my head at once, and now I'm upset. And now I'm thinking of that scene in Jaws 4 on the banana boat.
Oh my God! I just saw something. It was like
a fucking gif.
It It was like
Was it a GIF? Because
no,
people keep
it
just
was like
playing them
professional
willy-nilly.
basketball players in Jamaica. It was like Dwayne Wade or like LeBron James, like on this banana boat, and I was like, oh my god, Jaws 3.
No, it's Jaws 4. Get off the banana boat. Get off the banana boat.
The poor person on the end of the banana boat who just gets chomped. But how does the rest of the banana boat not like deflate? And
I don't
all
know,
go
but
flying?
somebody keeps playing that fucking GIF on Twitter, and
wanna see it.
it's so upsetting. It's so upsetting, and I just would like to point out that it is Shark Week right now, and it's an upsetting time for me as somebody who just has like a very like scared reaction to all giant shark mouths. So I just would like to say, just think before you post a shark GIF like
it's
that.
from Shark Week. Do you think if I just search Jaws banana boat?
Yeah, it'll come up. Get on the boat, the banana boat. That's what I think of.
I use banana boat. Or do I use Hawaiian tropic?
No, what? No, banana. No, Jaws 4 banana boat or Jaws banana boat. I don't think you need to put the number. I could be wrong. Is it Jaws 3? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Jaws 4 because the little girl is like traumatized and she's like, no, don't watch it. Are you watching?
yeah.
No, not the clip. I thought you were just gonna do the GIF. Oh no.
This doesn't look like.
Can you just find the GIF instead?
Yeah, it's the banana boat.
Oh no.
I'll mute it.
Okay. Anyways,
Oh, I forget the fucking mom is still in there. I'm like, God.
I know she got bad luck. Well, isn't the whole thing that like the shark is after her family specifically is like a grudge?
Yes.
Like, your husband killed my husband. Or
Oh,
something.
and it's little tiny kids, but the instructor's on the back. Though.
I thought
Remember?
it was just like their older.
Oh, there goes the
friend.
instructor. Oh yeah, and then it's like, and she's like,
Ugh, it's awful.
Oh, and it like gets her leg. Oh god.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my god.
All right. Are we done? I'm upset. So
No, I'm still watching it. I'm just trying to. I'm unclear why. Like, oh, okay. So it like literally just gets the instructor. The banana boat is untouched.
yeah, I mean,
there's
it
blood
doesn't
on
need
it.
the banana boat.
But there's like a very
like a
sad
real
little girl.
banana.
Oh no, it's all deflated on the back. Oh yeah, that's awful.
How
Wasn't
did they get
this
out
one
of
in
that?
Jamaica? Okay, the banana boat is just being like towed by a boat, so it just keeps towing it, and it's all deflated with blood on the end. This is a great conversation. Are we gonna choose Jaws 5?
Oh my god, no.
BT Dubs.
First of all, there's no such thing as Jaws 5.
I've mentioned this like 100 times already, but there's 5 Tremor movies.
There might
5.
be more. Isn't
and there's
there another
a new one in the works.
Oh, is
coming out next year.
Kevin Bacon in it?
No, it was.
I think Melvin's in it probably.
Yeah, it was somebody else.
For Pete's sake, people. Yeah, I'd like to know about the sequel. Let's see. Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Here's the plot. Oh no. Okay. Tremors 2. Battling a life depression, Earl Bassett is offered a job as a mercenary to help a Mexican oil company with a graboid epidemic that's killing more people each day.
So Valentine was like, absolutely not. So Kevin Bacon was like, see
Yeah.
ya later.
Yeah. So now they're just like in Mexico. Okay, so that was the second one. The third one, Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. This one is Burt Gummers.
That makes no sense, that title. Back to Oh,
The town is named Perfection. It makes perfect
totally
sense.
missed that.
Okay, this
Sorry.
plot
idiot.
is the now famous Burt Gummer returns to his hometown of Perfection, Nevada.
Why is he famous?
Because of the thing, probably for the first time in years. But the deadliest graboid evolution yet forces him to save the town he swore to protect. Okay, why are these things? What are they breeding? Do they have a penis?
The third one?
That's the third one. The fourth one, ladies and gentlemen, The Legend Begins. Ooh, a prequel to Tremors 1990.
Okay,
this
is what we
movie
want. Wait, which one is this?
4. This movie tells us about the town of Perfection, Nevada became founded and how they defended it against the graboids with the help of Burt Gummer's ancestor, Hiram.
What? So they they were there before and then came back? This makes total sense now.
Wow, his ancestors look just like him. It is him. Wow, he really made a
That's
killing.
like a horrible Back to the Future 3.
He made a killing on these sequels. Okay, and the final one, Tremors 5, Bloodlines. Also with Burt Gummer.
Oh my God.
The giant man-eating graboids are back and even deadlier than before, terrorizing the inhabitants of a South African wildlife
Isn't
reserve
Burt Gummer's
as
like,
they attack
what
from
is
below
going on
and
here?
above.
Why do these things want me? I mean, same thing.
It's just
the
like Jaws 4.
Vendetta.
Yeah, it's just like you
So what's
are
the
in trouble.
2018 one?
Oh, and then the one coming up is It probably doesn't have a. The sequel finds Burt Gummer and his son Travis at a remote research station where they must go up against graboids that have been converted into living weapons.
Okay.
Whoa.
This has gone too far, Tremors people.
Burt Gummer's son is played by Jamie Kennedy.
I saw that. What the fuck?
Who is for some reason following us on Twitter and has added us to a list called comedians.
Jamie Kennedy. We're making fun of you now.
No, I mean I love Jamie Kennedy. Good, thank you for putting us on that list.
Well, I mean, okay, horror sequels, like, why God?
They're
why?
really well. I'm sorry, but they do make money because people. The more outlandish they become, I think the even more money they
What's
make.
the max horror sequel that you have seen of any horror movie?
I think Friday the 13th probably has the most. They're up to like part.
And you've seen all of those?
Oh no, I hate those movies. I've only seen
Ones
up to
that
the
you
third
have
one.
seen.
That I've seen. I don't. Poltergeist. The third one.
Oh, you've seen up to 3?
Yeah.
Because how many did that one have?
3. 3 and final.
I mean, I get why they do it. I'm not a dummy. But
actually, sorry, I lied. It's Scream. Scream had 4. I've seen them all.
Yeah, right. And that was like also like something to do in high school. It wasn't like,
Those were still very interesting and different
Yeah.
enough between them, and they weren't like crazy. The third one was a little crazy because it was a movie within a movie within a movie.
Well, we just
something.
talked about
Yeah.
like as we just did our first sequel the other day. And about like why you make a sequel, right? But I think the horror genre sequels are in its like own like separate sequel thing. Mm-hmm. Because it's not at all like, do you miss these characters? Like, well, like maybe like a little bit.
No,
Do you need a continuation of the story?
These
No.
are just specifically jumping
But-
off points for.
Did everyone really like this and will probably like it again because they liked the first one? Yes.
Probably. Yeah, oftentimes there's like an actor that's attached theme. Like there's like Burt Gummer probably has a crazy fan base, that kind of thing. So,
And I mean, interesting that Kevin Bacon was like, I'm out.
yeah, after
And he's the main character in this one. So
I wonder how they explain his. Well, I guess they're in different places now. So, there was also a Tremors the TV series.
yes, I did see that. Why does it go like from
with
to
Burt
nowhere?
Gummer. I know. Is it still?
It's like
is it still
2003
playing?
to nothing? I'm like,
Well, that usually means it's still on, but no, this had only 13 episodes. It was just one season. The main picture on IMDb is just a girl in a wet T-shirt, so that's nice. Yeah. So those are the sequels. So now we know all about it.
Yeah.
Read all about it. Tremors 4.
So, question:
Yeah.
Did or did you not want to be, or still want to be, the lady scientist in this movie?
Oh. Yeah. I mean, she's a cool broad.
And they say girls didn't have role models back then. I really wanted to be that scientist.
when you watched it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted to be a geologist, but I wanted to be
Yeah.
like the one girl who like knew all the shit.
Although, I mean, it is sad that, okay, a few sad things in this. Number one, so Kevin Bacon's character is obsessed with her wanting to be this. He wants her to be this blonde, like we said, his archetype of a perfect woman. She is not, and he like puts on a pouty face when he sees her because she has brown hair and is
She's super cute.
and she's still cute, even though she's wearing that like zinc oxide sunscreen on her nose that you don't rub in. And she's like this like bogus hat on.
By the way, we had to do like intense research on because we're like, what is the deal with that zinc oxide stuff?
I wanted to pretend like we were smart. You ruined it.
Sorry.
Yeah, so apparently that's the kind of sunscreen that you don't rub in because it's just like a barrier and it's more powerful than regular sunscreen. It's more of a physical sunscreen rather than a chemical one. If we want to be technical.
I'm really technical with this with our graboids.
But yeah, and I just hate that he like makes a face and he's like, and you're just like, ugh, brown hair, forget it. So that was sad
that
thing
because
number
you
one.
have brown hair and you're
Yes,
offended?
yes, because the 90s especially were a time where that was such a thing, like brown hair, nerdy, blonde girls, hot, and it took us a very long time to get out of that.
Yes, thank God we are 17 years later. But remember what Earl says? He's like, those girls, no thanks.
But girls can be smart and pretty. I would just like to point out that is a very common thing, and it's great. So, you don't have to be one or the other, ladies. Just would like to mention that. Girls, if you will.
Are you talking about the James Bond where Denise Richards is a
No, I was
nuclear
not.
physicist?
That was the last thing I was thinking of, and I'm upset that you made me remember that.
Crushing, soul crushing.
No. So sad thing number 2.
Christmas.
So sad. Yes, her name's Christmas. So sad thing number 2 that really made me roll my eyes is that there's this part where Rhonda's pants or her boots got stuck in like the razor wire, and she's trying to get out, and Kevin Bacon's like, take your pants off, and you're like, of course the girl has to, like, the lead girl has to take off her pants, and then she's just pantsless for like a good 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but she had old lady granny panties on, which is awesome. Number 2, I read about that scene, and she didn't want to rehearse it, so she'd have like a surprise reaction when she like did it for the first time, and that's what they used. It's pretty cool.
Still think there's a weird thing where she's wearing like weird leggings at the beginning because her legs looked so pink. Like we should watch it again so we can see
like a baby's
but maybe
butt.
she was just wearing like tights or something.
Okay.
It's confusing. So that made me roll my eyes. But however, upside of that is that at Walter's General Store, he just happens to have a really cute pair of jeans that have like crotch
And those like adorable
roll them
Keds.
up, and then these really cute sneakers
Or
that-
Vans or Keds.
Good thing. What if they were like really unfortunate? What if there were only like sandals available?
What if it was that kind of movie where like they couldn't find any pants and she was pantsless for the rest of the film?
It would just be the worst. It would be the worst.
And then it'd be like totally sexist. But my whole thing with the relationship between her and Val just seemed unnecessary. I don't know why. Like, do we have to have a love interest romance thing in every movie? It's like almost refreshing when that is left out. And it almost did. And it was like the very end. There's like a little bit of flirtation between them. Because it's not like it was kind of building throughout the movie, but they kind of like didn't have time for that. And he was being a hero, I thought, just because he was a good guy, not just like, oh, I like this girl. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, and the end, like, I feel like the end should have been him and Earl because they were like bros and they were leaving town, and it was like, look what we did. But instead, it's like him kissing her, and I'm like, well, like, that's okay.
Wasn't there just a movie that we watched recently?
Like a cynic.
What was a movie we watched recently where we were excited that they didn't get together? Oh, A League of Their Own. How
And
it
Milk
like
Money.
no, they did have a romance. You're just confusing that with her being like, I'm going to just live here and start my own ice cream store.
Yes.
No, in A League of Their Own, it very easily could have turned into like Gina Davis and Tom Hanks are the two main characters in the movie that just, whoops, oh, I guess because you're a guy and I'm a girl, we're just going to fall in love, and that's going to be it.
But they had a deeper relationship in that because it wasn't confused.
Right.
With
But remember, they wanted
romance
them
and
to.
sex.
They wanted them to
Yes.
have this thing, but then either like when they tested it, or Gina Davis and Tom Hanks were like, no, or something. I forget. But they made the right decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's not necessary, and I feel like, especially in the '90s, obviously it was a very prevalent thing to always have just a love interest, and that's, I think, a big problem why there weren't any good, great movies with female leads, because they were just always the love interest. They weren't the star; they were the love interest. So it's upsetting. It's upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, I just think there's more to life outside of that. You know, as I'm continuing my life here as a single person, I'm like, can we stop talking about boys? Who cares? Can we stop making movies about relationships? Who cares?
Nobody
I
cares.
know they're a big foundation of life and blah, 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 but like, there were giant snakes under the ground. Like, isn't that the most important?
It's the most important thing. You're right. You're right. Whew. But that's it. So anything else we should mention before we depart?
Quick shout out to the weird guy Nestor. Maybe not his name.
Ugh.
So there's like the whole village, and you like kind of everyone sort of stands out in their own way, either because they get killed in a certain way or because there's like a little trope surrounding them, right? But then randomly this weird guy keeps appearing named Nestor, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Is it this woman's husband? No, it's this weird guy who lives in a trailer who is basically like an idiot, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess that was his. But I thought he did have a line early on. Maybe I'm wrong. But
It was very like, why
So,
include him?
yeah, so they're
just
all-
so they could see him getting eaten like under the like through the tire, because he like falls off his trailer, and then like brilliant idea, he like decides to like sit in this
Kevin
giant.
Bacon's like, get on the roof, get on the high ground so he can't get you.
And then he goes, "No, Nestor, no!" When he like gets
Not
into
the tire. That's no
tire.
good. That's no good.
That's no good. It's like this giant tractor tire and he like sits in it like you would just to be like lounging around. And the graboid like grabs him from below and just, you don't even see anything. He just gets pulled underneath, gone in a second. I mean,
It was sad, but at the same time, we're like, I don't know that guy. I have no
Right.
connection
So
to him.
I think it was just another death to have where you wouldn't feel sad about it.
Which, thank you. We don't need another Walter.
So they did us a favor.
Yeah.
And then lastly, when the graboids get blown up, like sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like this orange, red, like bleh. Really nasty.
Good one.
Yeah, and they kept having all these, like, when they would eat people, like, a lot of them were construction workers or, like, telephone repairmen. So you would just see, like, a helmet with brains, like, scattering of brains in it. Ew. Really
Yeah,
gross.
I think it was just a low budge kind of way to make that
It looked
obvious
like,
that
it basically looked like Jell-O.
yeah. Sad that Finn Carter is the woman who plays Rhonda. She's not really in anything.
She was
these
in, like,
days.
every TV show in the 90s, though, if you look at her IMDb.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I was today. Let's see, 90s Chicago Hope, one episode. It's
Yep.
just, I don't know if that counts.
ER.
Okay, these are all one episodes. It says ER one episode.
Diagnosis Murder, Murder
One
She
these are all
Wrote.
one episode.
She was in. Those were all how those shows went. They all needed like one person.
But then she had like a breakout role in this, and
Yeah.
then never did anything
She
else.
was so cute.
Finn.
Good name too. Finn Carter.
Yeah, pretty
Have
cool.
that on my resume.
Totally.
Hey, I'm Finn Carter. I was in Tremors.
No big deal. Yeah. So, guess is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good one, guys.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel really good about this. I had like a horrible day today because there's a bomb threat at one of the T stops, and they completely shut down the trains today. And I was like stuck, like, I don't know how far away. I wasn't even that far from your house, but like trying to get to Sweetie's so we can have our dinner and watch Tremors. And we've been wanting to watch this movie. Like, we decided to do it yesterday, and we're so excited about it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never getting there. There's like shuttles, people are fainting. I was like, I'm never getting it to you. I'm never getting to you. And so he's like, should we reschedule? And I was like, no. I was like, we are doing this. I'm like walking to you. It would take me an hour plus to walk.
Yeah.
But
And then I tried to do the right thing and order the food while she was trying to like work this out. And then she was like, I already ordered the food. And I was like, what the fuck? So then we got 2 orders of pad thai, which was great.
But it was like, it was okay. I need it. And then she was like, bad news. There's only like a splash of wine left, even though I told you there was a whole half a bottle. And I was like,
misjudged.
well, good thing I prepare because I bought one on the way just in case.
Bonus! It was very exciting.
I know.
So it all worked out.
worked out really well.
We spent like $30 more than we meant to, than we said
Oops.
we're going to. But whatever, all in the name of Large Marge sent us.
We hadn't recorded in a while, and I feel like I know once a week is good, but it kind of like
I know.
doesn't feel like enough to me.
We could do more.
We could do more.
So we will. We'll try to. It's just hard because we live apart now, and it's all your fault because you moved away. And now it's just harder.
You can come to my house.
I know
We
it's
haven't
just
done
harder,
mine in
and
a
I feel
while.
like my flow is not as good at your house. But like,
Are you kidding? We did 2 of the musical ones, which are most downloaded episodes ever at my house.
I know,
So
but
fuck
like,
you.
I didn't feel like as great about them.
Those were amazing.
Whatever.
Shut up.
They were
And
still
maybe
good.
my landlady doesn't like us to do musical ones. We can't
What?
do those at my house.
Did she? Did she complain?
No, but I had a dream that
What? Oh no! All right, next
she was
time.
like, in the dream, she came up to me. She's like, "Do you still have a job?" And I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "You're here all the time." And I'm like, "Oh no, I work from home sometimes." And she's like, "Yeah, we just hear these like really loud noises late at night of people singing." And I was like, "Oh, sorry."
okay,
That's my
bad dream.
podcast.
This is a dream, folks. It's not real. All right, well, next musical we'll do it here.
Susan's
obviously.
cool with it. She's cool.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, cool. Good try. Good try. Good try. All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you would like to follow us on our various social media platforms, please do. You can find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you for listening. Keep being awesome. Leave us a review or something. Yeah. Love ya.
Can you fly, sucker?
Bye.